I couldn't listen to the separate parts of it. I hated that. Okay, The Decline. Let's talk about it. Sorry. So I've always had this like weird relationship with this EP because it came out at a time when I was heavily into this band. And so I was extremely excited to see a new release coming out. I don't know why I said 2004 earlier. I knew it was the 90s because it was when I was in high school. I'm an idiot, bro. So when it came out, it was a very similar experience to Rancid 2000. The Decline is what, like 18 and a half minutes? It's one song, quote unquote. My issue with it is that I never understood why they wanted to make this one long song. And especially when you're doing it on a CD, I couldn't listen to the separate parts of it. I hated that. I don't think it's one song. And I have evidence as to why. I got notes on this thing, man. I listened to it 3 times. No, 4. Twice. Once on the way to Dallas. No, I'm sorry. Once before I even went to Dallas. Once on the way to Dallas. And then twice since I've been home to do notes on it. I wanted to listen to it a couple of times just to listen to it. But yeah, man. What is your just immediate thoughts of an opinion on NOFX The Decline?
So I've always really liked it, but not ever really given it as much of the time of the day as a lot of NOFX fans do. Like, I agree, it's kind of a masterpiece. I think it's the thing that Fat Mike feels most proud that he's done in NOFX. And I can see why that is. And it was one of the first NOFX things I ever got. Like, that was right when I was kind of coming online. So it was like
Pump Up the Volume. 99, huh?
Yeah, Pump Up the Volume and this and the 46 song. That was all kind of right around that same time. So I kind of heard all of this right at the same time. And I think there's like a problem actually with the arranging of it. Cause I'm thinking of like, of other stuff that I like. Cause like going back to Green Day, like my favorite Green Day song of all time is Jesus of Suburbia, a 9-minute song, which is similarly cobbled together bits kind of other songs. And I think that just like goes together a lot better. There's like parts of this where I am bored, although I like each individual part, but I do get bored with it. And what I think it is
that's one of my main gripes.
If you cut out any one of these, like the sub songs, they would fit fine on any NOFX record, may even be one of the good songs on a NOFX record. But part of the NOFX experience is hearing one of these mixed in with Separation of Church and State, mixed in with Liza and Louise. And I think you never kind of get that sort of, that there's a lot of like dark humor in the songs. And so I don't think any one of those individual songs are necessarily bad. I don't find it as interesting of a full listening experience. I kind of like the bits and pieces, kind of similar to you. It's one of the, I find myself just not thinking about a lot, although it's very important as a big NOFX fan. I've always found that kind of funny that I just don't connect with that quite as much as all the weird random other stuff I do with that band.
I don't know much about Fat Mike's opinion on this or whatever, so I don't know if he really thinks this is his masterpiece. I would humbly disagree with that. I used to think that maybe you could consider this their Life Won't Wait or their whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever album you want to compare this with. I just don't, man. I understand that people think it's really good. I know that playing this live would be just an incredibly hard thing to do. There are parts about this that I really, really like. Let me be very clear. Let me start off with that. There are parts of this that are top tier NOFX, top tier punk rock, namely the lyrical content.
Yeah.
But what you said earlier is absolutely correct. It is stuff cobbled together, man. This sounds to me like a bunch of songs that he couldn't finish and wanted to release something. So I think that if he does consider this a masterpiece, and this is the thing he's the most proud of, that is a thing that happened in hindsight. Because there is no way that you can convince me that when this came out...
Oh, he's been saying it since then.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
like
crazy.
He went in with the intention of, I want to do my Bohemian Rhapsody.
Wow.
I want to make my masterpiece.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, no, that was the intent. What not to say it wasn't cobbled together songs. Like it, saying, and there, I don't have a ton of insight on the actual creation of it because
I don't think it was lazy. That's not what I'm saying. Let me be clear again. I'm not saying it's lazy. I just think it was a bunch of pieces that he couldn't complete and was like, oh, well, I'll make one big, great, amazing song out of it.
And that might have been the ultimate where he like realized he had the material for it, but like he really wanted to make, like, that's why he's so proud of it. Cause I think I think he sees it, and again, I think you and I probably have the minority opinion on this. I think a lot of NoFX fans really value the decline. Like every time I post a NoFX video, people put different like little lyrics from this song in there and all that.
Okay.
I do think it's interesting that people like to claim that 2003 is when NoFX went political, when they literally had an 18-minute political song that they released.
That's crazy. Like 4 years earlier.
And there's politics on every one of their albums. But again, and that's what I think is kind of the issue. There's not that contrast isn't quite there. That's why I find myself less appealed of like having that experience. The experience isn't quite as fun, although I think it's very good, but it's just not. It's not quite as enjoyable, and I like to enjoy NoFX. Like I go to NoFX for different stuff. I guess might be
right.
Part of
it. Well, I think I'm going to. I think I'm probably going to upset some people because, like, first off, I have an opinion that is oftentimes like left of center. Like people don't. I don't have your. Even within my own culture of people, I don't have the opinion that everybody else seems to have. I don't know why that is. I'm just always been kind of a weird person, even within my own bubble of weird people. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being called lame, whatever. It doesn't matter to me, man. It's fine. But it's weird that I often have like the exception, not the rule, as my opinion. But none of this stuff is compelling. Like none of it. Okay, how do I say this right? That's not really what I mean. None of this. If you pull out any, I have written down 9 different sections that create different songs. Okay, I'm going to go over this in just a minute. Mm-hmm. But not one of those parts were in its own exemplary, in my opinion. The lyrical content would be really good, but then I wouldn't care for the way that they did the music. Or the music was really, really well done, but the lyrics weren't so great in that part. Or the production was really good, but I wasn't really sure I liked the melody of it very much. So, like, nowhere, and that might just be because I just don't like it. There doesn't have to be a reason. I may just not like it, right? That's okay too. My opinion on whether or not it's good or bad, I think objectively I guess it's pretty good. I don't think it's, a 10. I think objectively it's a pretty big feat. I think it's something to be proud of. I think that I don't know. I think they could have done better, honestly. And I think that if they had made it because like, dude, you can't put any of this on a mixtape. You can't put even on a playlist. That matters, dude. It does. Whether people want to agree with that or not, like, there's a reason why it matters to me.
I was saying, but this sold a ton. Like, this did very well.
Sure. No, whether it's, dude, look, man, a lot of shitty music sells a lot. And I'm not saying this is shitty music. I'm just saying sales don't make the difference to me because, dude, look at all the shit that's on the radio. How much of that do we call garbage? And it sells tons. So that doesn't mean anything.
And my point was that wasn't a deterrent though to like.
Gotcha.
Like, and in fact, I think
misunderstood.
Yeah, I think people really liked it on physical media because of how physical media was. You could never release this now. Like the Spotify attention spans that we have now, you just never. This could never come.
I do think it would be funny if they put this out on a 10-inch record, though. I would have way more appreciation for it because it would have to be flipped over. And I think I would find an immense amount of pleasure in that joke. Like having to have this song stop somewhere, preferably in the middle of like a bar.
Did they never do that? That feels very NOFX. Like that feels like something they would have done. I don't think they did, but I know
because then that would give this a whole nother meaning to me, and I would be like, oh, they're serious and still being themselves. I feel like this is a pretentious. That's what it is. Shit, that's what it is. I feel like this is pretentious, and I just never really vibe with that feeling very often. I don't.
I don't disagree with that, but I do think NOFX is very pretentious as a band. That is kind of their vibe. That is very much what their vibe is.
Yeah. They do a lot of things. I'm wearing like 2 patches right now as I'm talking all this hot shit.
Yeah, like that is kind of part of what NOFX it is. Like NOFX is always kind of smarter than you. They're always a little more like that is sort of what they, while also being dumber than you and lower class than you. They sort of straddle both of those lines. I do think, like, to the point of like the politics writing, like they have a lot of songs that these are very similar to on Wolves and on War on Errorism, but I think like the versions of those though that they whipped into on those albums were just better given the full LP like treatment and all that, and the more like Doomsday stuff on this, I think they did better on like the later albums that I like. I think that stuff, like the more like epic sounding stuff, I think actually sounds better on their later albums than it does on the Decline.
I think that's a great point, and I think that maybe this EP, whatever you want to call it, I'll call it an EP. Maybe this EP was better in 1999 than it is in 2024.
Yeah,
because
I think so.
They've had stuff come out in later years that I would consider far better. And that's probably not a popular opinion, but I would imagine they've had such a long career. I think they have a lot of different factions of fans that like this era, this era, this era, this era.
Yeah, I'm like the only person I know that likes like their stuff from 2013 on. Like, I think I'm the only person I've met that like.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I don't dislike it, but it's
like,
not really.
I don't. It's not my favorite stuff, but I really like connect with that stuff. And it's just again, when you've been around for 40 years, you're gonna have, and you've put out albums consistently. That's what you're gonna have. I will say, an experience to have with this that I wanted to make sure it was still on YouTube is there's the performance at Red Rocks with the orchestra that they do in the Decline. That is an amazing experience.
Oh, that's probably pretty cool.
And when you think about it, this song, it is more of, and I think it was included on the, like, you know, Fat Mike was doing the Broadway musical a couple of years ago, but it got canceled because of the pandemic and stuff like that. This fits more of that because this is more of that. So when you see it with the orchestra setting in a literal kind of theater setting, the song and the emotions of it really resonate. I don't care if you don't know Siri. I know, and we're talking about it.
So, okay. I do want to comment on that, actually. So I do think that this with like a big orchestra would make it a much more interesting experience for somebody like me. And I also want to say that listening to this on my stereo and in my car, it just doesn't resonate with me. But seeing it live, I gotta say, man, it's kind of cool. Yeah, it was kind of cool to see it live. Let me read my notes and then we can go on.
I so hope I'm going to see them twice on back-to-back nights in July. I so hope they don't play the Decline, just because it takes up a lot of space when you could be doing other stuff.
I thought that at first, but they played like an hour and change before they played it. Right. So they played a whole set. It was just like their encore.
You got your fill. Yeah.
And I think that actually answers my question earlier about Fat Mike's opinion on this song, because why else would he close his final tour with this unless it was something he was the most proud of?
Well, it's considered, you know how they do like a full album for every show. It's on the list, like it's on the rotation of even though it's not an LP. Like to them, I think it rises to that level of it being they consider it a release like that. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go through and read my notes. It's not that gonna take me that long. It's a little bit of writing, but not that big a deal. And then I want to get your opinion on this.
Yeah.
So I put starts off as a very typical NOFX song in melody, lyrics, etc. Personally, I actually like that quite a bit. At 3 minutes and 9 seconds, it changes with that bass line. I gotta say, the production on this is fantastic. Don't really care for the lyrics, but the music is awesome on this particular part of the song. It's like a transition track almost. It's like real short. At 4 minutes and 11 seconds, song 3 starts. A story about Jerry. Who is Jerry? I don't know who Jerry is. You know who Jerry is?
I don't know.
But it's got really good lyrics. That part of the EP has got fantastic lyrics from 4 minutes and 11 till 6 minutes and 7. At 6 minutes and 8, we got song number 4. Sounds like the end of an album or side A of one. They're trying to keep it interesting, I guess. But I think that's probably at the point where they would have it turn into a side B if they were going to do it on vinyl. I don't know because I've never experienced that. 6 minutes and 50 seconds sounds exactly like another one of their songs, and I can't tell you which one. But you mentioned earlier that a lot of this stuff is like repurposed later for full songs, and I was hearing that a lot at about halfway through, maybe a third of the way through. 8 minutes and 22 seconds, song number 5 starts. It's got a great bass line. Nice little solo in that part. At 9 minutes and 45 seconds, this is the part of the album that I like the most. It's they do Tool better than Tool does.
I know exactly the schism part. They do like that schism part right in there.
Yep. And then I put maybe my favorite part. ... Nope, definitely my favorite part. So from 9 minutes and 45 till about 11 minutes, that's my favorite song on the Decline. 11 minutes in, they start song number 7. I don't care for the execution of this one, but the lyrics are relatable and it hits close to home. This is really where I start to lose interest. Even though the second half of this one is good, it just the second half, that's part of the song is what I'm talking about. It just loses me before it even gets there. And then 13 minutes, 20 seconds in is song number 8. good lyrics, but otherwise kind of boring and monotonous. And then at 15 minutes in, this is where I get very, very angry about this album. You have like 4 minutes of almost nothing. It starts the incredibly long outro. It lasts 3.5 minutes. It is just a waste of time, in my opinion. But I do like the lyrics that they scream in there, that Melvin screams a little bit, but there's so few of them. It's like 3.5. It's so absurd. Like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I think that is the reason I have the opinion on this that I have, is because the end of it is the part that I like the least. And so when I listen to it, it's one damn song. So by the time I get to the end of the fucking song, it's about 3 minutes of shit I don't like. So, like, if anybody loves this, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that do, I want to know what it is that you like about it specifically, because you're going to tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. Tell me I'm wrong. Get that out. Whatever. But, like, what is it you like about this? Because it doesn't exceed their other efforts when you go head to head with them. I just think I feel like this is more of a project for them than it was for us almost. Yeah, that's been a popular thing that musicians have been doing the last couple of decades.
Right, and I think it was intended to be that, although it really did resonate with the NOFX fans. Like, again, this is not. It's, again, there's a reason why it's also played and accepted as one of the albums that they're going to play live. I would say it's funny because I have kind of not necessarily the opposite opinion, but like, I've always loved the intro. I like the kind of foreboding sort of like the sound that the intro. It feels like something bad's about to happen.
Well, I like the intro.
It kind of opens up.
I like the intro. I just don't like the
and then
outro.
I also like specifically. I like a lot of the lyrical parts, but when it's like a little clearer with the Jerry, and then there's a part too where I just like the way some of the little puns. Like, I don't know if he meant to play on Jerry only, but where the way he says it, Jerry only stay, because he does a lot of that.
Oh, I'm sure he did that on purpose. Music. It had to be on purpose.
And then all the bass line, the schism part, but I actually really love the end, the outro part. That's the part that really kind of hooks me back, because it loses me kind of towards the middle. And then it's at the end where it starts flowing, that like distorted trumpet stuff that's going at the end. I really liked that.
It just gets repetitive very quick. Sorry. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
And that's why it's like one of those, like, kind of, it's like an epic. It's those things that are kind of a little bit too long in order to, which is the thing that punk rock never does. Punk rock never overstays its welcome.
That's one of my favorite things about punk.
And so this sort of pushes that boundary, kind of on its side. Because I think you can't say it does it, but like, it's funny you're talking about. I didn't listen to it a ton as a kid, but like, it would not bother me, like when I'd get in my truck and then I go back in and it would still be going. Like it was just like we're just picking up at another part. Like, that did not really bother me as much. But I think of, like, I listened to it a lot less, and I was thinking about this earlier. When I was a kid, for whatever reason, I drove around listening to a lot of NOFX, but at the house I listened to more Rancid. I don't know why. I don't know because Rancid's like a more emotional kind of band or what it was. But NOFX.
I mean, I had the bands that were like car bands and house. I mean,
NOFX was always good, like driving music for me, and The Decline didn't really fit as much with that kind of group of music. So I think that's why that one got a little more discarded from me than the rest of the discography.
Look, man, I understand the irony in me wearing this hoodie and this hat while talking about this particular release by them, because I don't really like it that much. I think it's objectively pretty well made. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece. I think the production on it's phenomenal, though. I like the way the sounds that I get out of it are really good.
Yeah.
The bass specifically was really well done in that recording. But first off, if you're fans of this and you're big giant NOFX fans, who's Jerry? Please explain this to me. I want to know. I'm interested. But
I should look it up. It's probably something really obvious that for like the hepatitis bathtub or someone we know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have never been into songs like Bohemian Rhapsody, the Green Day song,
Jesus of Suburbia.
Jesus of Suburbia. I don't like the big epics. They're never really my thing. I have really crucially bad ADHD, so 2-minute songs are great. My movies that I watch are all 90 minutes or less. I don't like the big long movies either. It's just not what I enjoy. If you like this effort from NOFX, then I hope you listen to it and get a lot out of it. I truly, sincerely have no issue with people that like what they like. Like, it just doesn't make me upset. I'm not mad by somebody liking this. I'm not going to be super upset when you tell me I'm wrong. Just,
it would have been good research. I just saw real quick that Krista Makes did an hour with Mike in November on his podcast about this song. We should have actually listened to that before we had this conversation.
Wait, what now?
So I was just looking, I was like, wait, who is Jerry? And there's all kinds of stuff. But then I saw that Krista Makes actually did an hour-long podcast on his.
Oh, wow.
Where he does that podcast where he breaks down the songs with the artist and what was this part.
Yeah.
We should have probably listened to that before we did this to add.
I didn't know he did that. We can. How about this? Then we can just make this a part 1 of NOFX The Decline. And next week we can just, on the very end of it, we'll talk for a few more minutes about NOFX The Decline. I mean, it's okay. It's okay, dude. Look, I don't hate this, man. Like people are gonna think that I hate this.
Use that as a context to it, because I do feel like you and I are like, of all the things in NOFX's like discography, I feel least connected though to the Decline.
Well, that's okay. It's kind of like any other thing that I love. It's just the part that I don't care for much. It's the part I would get through the first if I was eating NOFX as a meal. I would go, let me get through this and get this over so I can enjoy the rest of my meal. This is the vegetables for me.
Of the good NOFX, I should say, not like The Longest Line or like some
yeah,
other, like
I don't even consider that stuff.
Because again, a 40-year career, there's also like actual crap that NOFX will tell you is crap. Right. You know what I mean? So, but of like the quality stuff that sounds good, that's recorded well, it is the thing I'm emotionally least connected to, for sure.
I will continue to repeat that I'm not saying this is bad. I don't think that is bad. I just don't really like it, and I don't think that it's as good as a lot of folks tell me that they think it is. And I don't really understand why they think it's so great, because it's a long song and it's got good lyrics. I mean, they've got many, many, many songs with great lyrics and great production and great songwriting that aren't boring me. You know what I'm saying? Because this song is hard for me to get through. It's the last part of it. I really have a problem with it. I don't know why they put it on there. There's nothing. I don't get it. But I guess if I was writing a song of this length, if you look at it proportionally, it's like an outro to this 15 seconds on a 2.5-minute song. So, if you look at it like that, it's just like any other thing. It's just swollen, Yeah. I mean, talking music is so weird, bro. Like, the longer we do this, the more I'm like, this is a weird thing we decided to do.
Well, it's funny. I always hear musicians say like they don't ever feel any of their songs are finished even after they're published.
Wow, that's crazy.
And you think of like a song like this, that's probably exactly like, should we do one? Should we add that stanza in just one more time? And when you're dealing with this length of time, those decisions seem like, I'm also not second guess. Like, it's hard to kind of second guess, because like, there's probably a million different ways you can kind of go with these things. It is funny though to see when punk rock, something that's really like goes against this, again with something that's short songs, efficient, and all this stuff, when it butts up against this stuff and what that looks like and what that comes out as.
What's more punk rock than doing exactly what a bunch of punk rock kids would say is not punk rock?
Yeah, that is the thing.
I mean, that's. So, I mean, for that, saying that, it would say that this probably is NOFX's most punk. I would say that, I can't say my sentence right. Based on that, I would say the Decline is the most punk rock thing that NOFX ever put out, based solely on the fact that it's not very punk rock of them to do a 18-minute long song, which is probably what Mike was thinking when he did it. I don't know.
I mean, literally all their album before that, the title song was "It's My Job to Keep Punk Rock Elite." The album they had right before that. So
I love that.
Mike has been slinging these arrows back for like 30 years. He's been fighting these battles, and it's funny because in this era, he's a frontliner in self-defense, and then like 2 years later, he's the old timer and he's the old man yelling at the cloud, and it happened that quick. Just like us, man. We were being gatekept against, and now we're doing this. And I'm saying man shouldn't exist.
I mean, it's
you live long enough, you become a villain, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, Batman was right. All we're speaking about is opinions, man. I mean, this is entertainment at the end of the day.